Well, good afternoon, Canaan kids and families. Hope you guys are all doing well and having a great afternoon. And just we had a great time this past Wednesday night for our Wednesdays Gone Wacky. Hopefully, you can join us next Wednesday night for our Wednesdays Gone Wacky. And so, just to have a little review of what we learned this past Wednesday night for Wednesdays Gone Wacky. Obviously, this past Wednesday was Veterans Day, so we talked about our veterans, but we also talked about a missionary that is a veteran, a retired U.S. Marine, and we're going to talk. I'll be sharing about that missionary here in a little bit. I want to share with you our verse in our verse for the month of November. It's found in Matthew chapter 3, verse 16. Matthew chapter 3, verse 16, and it says, "And when Jesus was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him." So we talked about last night, we talked about Jesus' baptism and how Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, and how Jesus set the example for us is when we as Jesus and our Savior, we're showing the church, we're showing people that we have made that change in our life. We turn away from our sin and we want to be closer to Jesus, and that Jesus lives inside our heart. And we have baptism, we just have baptism just shows the church. We get rid of our old life, we buried and raised again in the newness of Christ. And we talked about baptism, and so we learned about that's the example that Jesus wants us to follow. And that's the example we follow. We not only just do through baptism, we also had the Lord's Supper. And this upcoming Sunday, we are observing the Lord's Supper, where it helps us remember that Jesus' body was sacrificed for us, and his blood, and it helps us remember what Jesus did for our lives and what he did for us, and how he comes and lives inside our heart. So we're to observe the Lord's Supper, and so we have that, and of course baptism. Baptism, when someone comes to know Jesus or Savior, Lord, they get baptized, and it shows the difference in their life and how they're getting rid of the old way of life, buried and raised in the new life of Christ, just like Jesus rose from the dead. So we talked about baptism. We also talked about a U.S. Marine who is one of our missionaries. Our U.S. Marine that we talked about was Roy Garres, and he's a retired U.S. Marine, and he is a church planter at 29 Palms, California, outside of the U.S. Marine base, to minister to the Marines outside that base as a church, a family. We talked about last night about our church family is there to help support us in all sorts of ways, and helps our families when there's a time of crisis or a need or something that happens, and our Canaan church family is there for them. Well, this missionary, Roy Garres, and his wife Cassandra started a church plant called Pillar Church, and he's the pastor of that church that reaches these Marines and their families during the times of deployments or when they're out training or missions or wherever it is, to minister to those families and share the good news of Jesus' love for those men and women that serve. And so he was a Marine. Roy was a Marine for 11 years. He served in the United States Marines, and he knows him and his wife, while he was serving, that they didn't spend a lot of time with God or got involved in the church, and so they decided, a guy placed on his heart, and he started doing the chaplaincy, and then retired after 11 years of service to our country to pastor a church called Pillar Church to reach fellow Marines and outside this base. And it's actually started a movement called the Praetorian Project, and that's to share the gospel by planting pillar churches near Marine Corps bases. And I shared with the children my own personal story about, on the base, we always grew up on the base. Everything was there. Our schools, our groceries, bowling alleys, McDonald's, everything we ever need was on the base. We never had to leave hospitals. And well, of course, times have changed, and now everybody go off the base, lives off the base. Schools are not on bases like they used to when I was a kid. And so Pastor Roy is a pastor of Pillar Church in 29 Palms, California, and he ministers to the needs of those Marines, and his wife helps serve alongside them, and they serve the community around him and the Marines and help the families, because being a military member, life is different. We talked about deployments. We talked about how things are sometimes rough, and during times of war, conflict, and peacetime, they're able to minister. And that's what a church family is for. Church family is there to help serve alongside you and help be there and encourage you and equip you. And so that's what the Pillar Church is doing. So we talked about that on Wednesday night, and of course, we shared about those activities and what Roy does. And I thought it was pretty awesome that we learned about that on Veterans Day. And thank you to our veterans and our Canaan Church family and our families that have served our country. Thank you for their service and the freedom we have that we are able to come to church and worship and study about God, and just thank you for that. And so that was kind of a little overview of what we talked about this Wednesday night. Hopefully you can join us next Wednesday night as Wednesday's Gone Wacky, because Wednesday, November 18th, we are having our annual Auburn, Alabama show your colors, support your team moment on Wednesday that's Gone Wacky. So come in your colors for Auburn or Alabama. I'm already wearing some Auburn colors today. And so just a reminder, Wednesday, November 18th, we're having our Auburn, Alabama team colors. So make sure you're here for Wednesday's Gone Wacky. But I hope to look forward to seeing each and every one of your smiling faces this Sunday for Children's Church at 9 a.m. and Children's Journey Groups at 10:30. So hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll see you guys soon on Sunday, and just have a great time. And looking forward to seeing you guys Sunday. Have a great rest of your day, great weekend, and see you Sunday. Catch you later. Bye.